you guys think? Pretty good, huh? When I was asked to be a part of it, I had no idea it was going to be that cool. I was going to do it just for being less cool. Yeah, it turned out way cool. So I'm going to ask you guys, I want you guys to ask any questions. We're going to get back to Nathan. I know this is Sonny one. Totally keep Nathan out of it. I'm going to have Nathan involved back here in a minute, but I want to see what you guys think while it's still fresh in your mind. You guys have any questions or any thoughts about what you saw? I know you do. Raise your hand.
Just everything together.
3.
Yeah, it was like, I did it on my phone. No, we took quite a bit of time. We wanted to get feedback from everybody on the team. The starting process was just me doing everything, and for fun, I did all the visual effects in Premiere. I didn't even go to After Effects. I just wanted to see what I could get done. And then Bert would come in and check off on it. And then we went to sound. And during sound, our actors would contribute little tidbits on line changes and, you know, tweaks, whether they were digging it or not, whether they felt we had at least, like, you know, had a good light on them in terms of their performances and whatnot. And it was cool to go through every level of post, getting everybody's approval. I lost track of the hours, but I have a love desk now, so I know I can stand up for like 8 hours without stopping. So that's a plus. Anyone else? Sound? You guys want to talk about? Yes, please talk.
Yeah, sound is fun. That's the cool part about having a character with a helmet, is that a lot of those lines can be recorded later and they can be changed. So, well, you know, you would come in with some wild lines written down, and Noel's genius, just one of the coolest parts is just letting everybody come in and just like do whatever they thought the character would be better at. Like, so that's pretty cool.
Music.
Music's great. I really love the music. Did you guys like the music?
Yeah.
It was alright. Did you guys like the music?
Yeah.
Oh! No, I'm not gonna do that. Cool. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. That took a lot of time. I went to Costco to get really, really angry. Because the first thing we talked about was that Redmond was a very angry character. So I went to Costco and like the worst time, I was like Sunday, afternoon or whatever it was, and I waited on a big long line and I got really angry listening to Cannibal Corpse. Sunday. What about you? You want to talk about some music stuff? Did some preparation as well?
I just remember, speaking about how long it took, I think a lot of 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning things, a lot of coffee, for me, maybe a lot of cigarettes.
A lot of alcohol.
Yeah, a lot of alcohol. I mean, I think, I remember around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, being drunk, working on the last scene. I was like, okay, I gotta write something down. We're running out of time here.
Yeah, it was one of those, we definitely worked up to the deadline, for sure.
Yes.
And even during the deadline, we were still doing a lot of Foley work the day of the mix. We were like the doorknob, that's my claim to fame. I did the Foley for that doorknob. When he knocks the doorknob off, I got to go in and take a doorknob and try to recreate that. And that was all the Foley that I did. Everybody else did an amazing job, but that one, I'm sure you noticed, it was pretty cool.
So, all right, if you're a filmmaker, sound, and I look at sound as about 75% of the equation, especially if it's an action film. And in our case, it was more like 75 to 80 because there was an entire sequence of this film where we could not record sound. We got to the location, which we secured months in advance, and it turns out at that school, they were having a school dance the same day we were shooting. So we had to move to a different area than we expected, and the music, I mean, those kids, for an elementary school, that party was popping. We couldn't record reference sound or anything. It would have been all copyrighted material. So that we had to essentially rebuild all of the sound. And it's weird because no one's really called us on our VX that none of that sound actually is any of the on-set sound. So that's a testament to Dog and Pony Studios. And I think that should kind of open up your mind. As a filmmaker, if you're about to make a fan film, do not feel that you're if you don't get good sound or if you don't get stuff right during the shoot, you should be very open open to ways you can fix it later on. Because if we weren't, I would have just given up on this film, basically. So, anyway.
One of the first things we did early on, one of the first conversations we had when we were taking on this project, and just something I wanted to like throw out there to anyone who's thinking about it, they're on the fence about it, I want to do like a fan film, you know, go out and make it. Don't worry about it. One of the first things he asked me, Hassani asked me, is like, what if we make this film and like no one sees it? Because that's a possibility. You could put all these hours and all this time in, and maybe you don't get 1 million views, maybe you don't get 100 views or whatever. Don't do it for the views. Do it for yourself. Do it because you want to do it. You love the character. You love the story. You have something that you need to get out and work that out. Do that. And when you do that, you will attract other people like that. And everyone here just believed in it and put in their time and work, and we stand by it. And it's just, if there's something just say, like, go do it, find like-minded people, and don't worry about the views, because the views will come. You'll find other people that like what you like too, so go for it. Any other questions?
Hi, what kind of cameras were you using during filming? Like, I'm interested in the long.
We shot it on the iPhone. No, I'm just kidding. Samsung Galaxy. So this is Samsung Galaxy. We shot it. Part of it was multicam, Arri Alexa M and Arri Alexa, and then those are our cameras. We used a variety of lenses, hodgepodge kit.
Yes.
The trailer, which we're super proud of, because the trailer was a skeleton crew. It was him and I.
We filmed the trailer in his garage.
Yeah,
and it was just the three of us.
Yeah. So, but that was shot on the Red Epic. So, I don't know. We make features. We make a lot of stuff, and we're trying to climb our way into a career that actually lasts. So we put a lot of effort into the equipment and whatnot. So, there's a question back there, sir.
What lens do you prefer the most? What do you end up using the most? What lens?
The lenses I got. No, I'm just kidding. Whoa, no. Sorry. I watched Luke Cage and this video. This got me all riled up. I apologize. Go ahead.
A lot of the shots, I was a big fan of the Schneider 75 millimeters, what we used a lot of. That was pretty much my go-to lens for a lot of my favorite shots of the film. Like Hassani said, we do have a hodgepodge kit of just mixed lenses, because that's, you work with what you got. And, we're fortunate that we do have some nice tools at our disposal, but that comes from all the hours and years of just building up our kit, working at it, to be in a situation where we can do that. So, but yeah, favorite lens, definitely the 75. Everything just looks so awesome in the 75. And the macro, the 100 macro, when we were doing the grenade pin and close-up shots, was really great.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go.
So it seems like you took a lot of input from different people as a final product for this story. So when you were first storyboarding and kind of coming up with the initial points, did everybody have a say in that, or was it just one of you came up with the skeleton of the idea?
Well, a lot of the pre-production stuff would be us, and me and Hassani in his living room, just breaking down the scene, talking about it. Even to the point where we'd stand the other person up, okay, stand up. We would act it out in his living room, and then we'll be here, we'll move the camera this way. That was a lot of what we did. There was no real story. But there was no official shot list. There was no official storyboard. A lot of it we just kind of went with what felt right, and we work really well together, and we both have shot a lot of different projects. So instinct kind of kicks in, especially when things aren't going your way. You have to kind of rely on your instincts, because like he was saying, we had a whole sequence planned out, and then they had a school dance, so we had to move the entire sequence to a whole other part of the school, and just. Oh yeah, and then we had a stunt actor, that was going to do an entire fight sequence with Red Hood, and a couple days before we had to shoot, he decides to tell us that he can't make it. And apparently he knew this before And you know, thank God we asked him, like, hey, so you're coming, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I can't make it. It's like, well, when were you gonna tell us this? So we had like this whole action scene planned out. We ended up just having to scrap it and just, you know, focus on the storytelling. And you know, then that's where you kind of fall back on your storytelling. You know, you believe in the character. You think of ways to tell the story, but through the character. So with Jason Todd, we looked at him as a gunslinger, which was kind of one of the cool things that with our approach we wanted to focus on. So how does a gunslinger clear a room? He's just going to shoot them, you know? You always see it in movies. It's like, well, he has a gun. Why doesn't he just use it? They always fist fight when they have guns. It's like, well, no, just blast them. But I digress.
I have a question. I have a question for Noel. How much time? I'm sorry. Okay. So, how much time did you spend working on the film? And yeah,
That's a good question, actually. You guys approached me with just like the skeleton, the idea. It felt like before Halloween. And ever since you guys brought the idea up to me, I started training and like preparing right then and there because I wanted to be as prepared for you guys as I possibly could be. So I was hitting the gym, I was training, I was doing the fight choreography that he was just referring to. So it was a lot before we even started shooting or anything like that. So I felt, I don't know, man. I was like at your house, like recording audio, just helping you out. Like, you tell me, how long was I with you?
I appreciate how just committed everybody was. Noel was in it the most. It felt like we had an additional crew member because, like, even in post when we were working on the trailer, he had to come back. The trailer is actually like hours. It takes place hours before the events of the film, and he spent the day with us. He came back the next day for ADR, and then it was kind of a cool thing for us to be done with that and to see his response and see how, you know, see it hitting him that he was finally done with something he worked really hard on. And tell us about the costume. How did it fit? Was there any, what's the pros and cons of wearing a cool red hood or a coolish red hood costume?
Yeah, the biggest pros, you look like a badass. The costume is super dope, guy, thank you. The pros, yeah, you look really cool, you feel like a hero, or an anti-hero, I guess I should say. I could only see the reflection of my eyes in that helmet. I couldn't see literally anything else but the red reflection of my eyeballs. Couldn't see where I was walking, couldn't see a damn thing. So that was the con. We couldn't, the fight scene that we had choreographed, I couldn't even do anyway because I couldn't see out of the helmet, and it wouldn't make sense for me to take off my helmet just for the fight. But I looked awesome, it looks really good on camera, the jacket looks really well worn, the helmet is super, super cool, it fit really well, it didn't feel too bulky because it was proportionate with the rest of the costume. Solid work, guy.
I got one more question for you.
One more piece.
Another question is, you made some critical decisions as a character that affected the plot of the film. Can you talk about that with us today, sir?
Sure. I would first like to thank you guys for letting me do that because it was definitely your script that you let me just change. I'll let you guys know a couple of fun facts. The torture scene where I killed the guy in the script, I did not kill him at all. Yeah. I was like, I feel like I would just kill him. I'm done with him. I don't need any more information. And his mom's like, are you sure? This is a big moment. Like, this is the first time we see your character and you just kill a bunch of people. And I was like, that's what he would do. He's like, all right.
You should have seen the actor's face. He was sitting there like, so you're going to die now.
Damn, it'll be in the sequel. It comes back with a neck brace. Another part of the entire scene with him as Pennywise, like all his dialogue was completely improvised by Hassani and Jeremy just bouncing ideas off of each other, so that was really cool. The part where I say, where I asked Veronica if she screamed and she said no, and I said that I did, I improvised that line, and he's like, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, I feel like this is the part where I am opening up to her. This is the only person that I'm opening up to. I don't even open up to my brother Dick Grayson, like.
That's 99% of directing, just asking people, are you sure?
Are you sure?
And then you take all the credit.
Actually, it's just you questioning my methods. That's what it is.
Speaking of Pennywise and improvising, let's talk about the makeup process. Dave. So let's talk about that, Jeremy. You were a pretty spot on. This is you. It's hard to keep your train of thought. You were pretty spot on Pennywise, and you came in last minute. You had another shoot that day, so there was a lot of pressure. We shot you out first that day, and you had to chew on the back of a girl's head. Was there anything about this job that?
Normal Tuesday.
Is there anything about your job that made it difficult, daunting? Did you have second thoughts once you got to set?
Honestly, man, I mean, when you guys approached me with the role, sorry, I have a deep voice, I'm not used to having to use these. Yeah, when you guys approached me with the role, I was super pumped to get to do it, and when I found out I had a conflict that day, I was really nervous you guys weren't going to let me do the character, because you guys were taking this so seriously, and because I had that other shoot, I was nervous I was going to lose out on it. Luckily, you guys worked with me and got me out first. As far as the costume goes, the makeup was amazing. They were super gentle, and it looked phenomenal. But the contacts, those were definitely a nightmare. Not as bad as you, not being able to see out of a helmet, but I did. I had never worn contacts before, so if you remember the first time you ever put contacts in your eyes, it's like awful. You're just dying. And my eyes, for some reason, are so sensitive that I was crying all over my makeup. Like I looked like a baby, seriously. I was like, guys, I'm gonna do this. And I had to have someone. Yeah, she helped me pull my eyeball, like my eyelids down, and I'm like, I can do this, I swear. And I finally got the contacts in, which wasn't even the hard part, I guess. Because once we were shooting and getting into character and doing all this, the ball's rolling, you're in a zone, you're another character, you really want to capture that. And so I wasn't lubricating the contact lenses throughout the day. And so when we went to take those off, I had to peel them off my eyeballs. And so I remember going to my second shoot that day, and I was like, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to whiten my eyes, because it honestly looked like I smoked them. My eyes were just they were just bloodshot, because I literally, she had to hold my eyes open. I had to take 3 fingers and just try to peel it off my eye.
We had one moment where, okay, so the entire day was going smooth, and I could tell I had the trust of my actors until I told him how he was going to escape being shot. That little scurry, guys, you can get away with a lot with movie magic, but it looked really stupid while he was doing it on set. And I could tell he did not believe in me at all during that time. He's like, dude, you can see my underwear.
Yeah, so I was wearing, I think I'm wearing the same pair today, but I was wearing a pair of Marvel boxers. And this is obviously a DC Universe film. And I was like, dude, is Pennywise jumping universes? If I got Marvel underwear in a DC film, like...
But there was the brilliant moment where I'm like, you're just going to scurry away. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, he gives me that half committed. And I'm like, no, seriously, it's gonna look really cool. And after we do a couple of takes of it, he's like slipping and falling all over the place.
My first take was like I was like, is that good? And he's like, it was great, Jerry. We're gonna do that again, but not terribly.
So, obviously, there's a cool thing in indie film where if you don't have enough people, you can just cast the same actor for 2 different roles. And my favorite dual actor is Joker. And
I forget what his name
his name's Cassius. It's just
Cassius,
a script name.
okay.
The big dude at the beginning. So he was 2 characters. We have like 3 people who died twice in this film. And it's pretty cool. But what was it like day one? Do you want to tell the exploits of day 1 on set for you?
What happened day 1? Jeez, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Joker? Or
yeah.
God, the Cassius.
Yeah.
Day 1 was the day that everything was going so smoothly, and we're getting everything in the can, and it's like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best thing ever. And then all of a sudden, we're gonna change lenses, and the lens won't come off the camera. So Hassani with his gigantic arms is over there just And it's like, okay, I guess we're done with day one because we can't use the camera anymore. So
Yeah, we had to break the camera. We had 2 lenses break that day. One just exploded inexplicably, and it wasn't my lens, so I thought it was funny. But then my lens. I was like, hold on.
So little backstory. That was my lens that exploded, and it wasn't funny. I literally got it in the mail that morning. I sent a PA to go pick it up. I sent a PA, I was like, it was just delivered to my apartment, go grab it. They bring it, I literally opened the box on set. First shot we're gonna do with it. I don't know how, but it just straight up like explodes. The back end of the lens,
cone crumpling in my hand.
the back of the lens just broke right off.
So I go over and I tap him, and I'm all smug and shit.
It was a Sigma 18 to 35. It was like a convert. I had the photo version that I converted into a cinema.
Was it the art? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, and I went over and I'm like, yo, bro, your lens just exploded. Sorry, bro, we gotta switch lenses. And I go over and put like my 24 on, and it just won't come off. So now we're faced with the challenge of figuring out why this happened, how to fix it, and then how can we match what we shot today whenever we get to shoot again. And to me, I think it's a testament to just the first thing that happened that blew me away, which let me know that I was in the right, I had moved to Vegas and it was a good decision, was almost every single person committed to coming back when we needed them. They didn't know when, they didn't know how, they didn't know if, yet they were ready to come back. And the other thing was that positivity seemed to bleed into the next day, because we went to Home Depot and literally had to borrow their vise to peel the lens off, had to break the mount. And then we called the mount manufacturer, told them what happened, and they were like, send it back, we'll send you a new one. And they were like, you pay shipping. So we got it for free. We called the lens manufacturers for both lenses that got broken, and they were like, just send it back, we'll put it together for free, you pay shipping. And we're like, okay. And everybody did what they said, and even it was a Blackwood camera put the mount back on my camera for free, tested it, made sure everything was good, and we were back in business a month later. So don't panic.
Yeah.
If your film goes down the tubes, or you think it is, don't panic, don't give up on it yet again. And cast people who are cool. Like really, really push for the cool points. When my top priority in casting is, if I don't think I would hang out with you for 3 days, then I'm definitely not going to shoot a film with you. So like, your acting ability is second to your personality. I think actors come into the room and they immediately dive into they're in character, and you're like, Jesus, is this dude always this intense, or is this dude always like Deadshot or whoever he's playing? You just don't know him. So if you are into acting, or you're going to make a film, or you're going to cast people, look for people who show you who they are, then act, because you're going to need a cool person when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah, no, and you're going to be spending 12 hours a day with that person, so.
And back to Nate.
Yes, back to
Nightmare Joker, time in the makeup chair, tell him your contact shenanigans, and then what that fight was like.
yeah, I had actually never worn contacts at all before, so it was my first time putting contacts on, and I didn't have quite the problem that Jeremy did. So I didn't actually have to peel them off. So I brought some drops and stuff that I was putting in throughout the day. And yeah, the fight scene, we originally had a bigger fight scene planned, but then we got the helmet and Noel couldn't actually see, so we had to switch some things up. So so I ended up headbutting Noel quite a few times.
How'd the costume feel?
Oh, the costume's great. I'm a big fan of the Joker. I mean, everyone's a big fan of the Joker, but
That's his voice.
Yeah.
He actually did that impression, and it worked really well.
yeah, I was sweating balls in the hands out there. That was good times. Luckily, I didn't have my face painted for all that. So
Yeah. He came out of the booth, and we all hugged him goodbye, and we were soaked because he was this. So we were like, Jesus, I wish he told us it was that. AC button was right.
you gotta get really animated if you're gonna be the Joker. So.
And I have yet another question for, God, I can't remember his name. You know, who's the dude who made the costumes? God, how you doing? Oh, there. I think it's important to tell people how much you charged us to do it, because I think it's important to know like that, you know, you can find people that believe in you. And I would love to know like just your thoughts on the process as a whole. What is it like working remotely and never being able to measure your actors and still make costumes?
Yeah, so realistically what happened is him and I talked about doing another film that's probably still in the works. So I knew his drive, and he always approaches you and says, hey, I have this idea, you need to make that happen. Because you've seen how he behaves. He's kind of he takes control of things, and this is, so he gave me these ideas, and he said, can you do this? And I said instantly, yes. And he said, well, I thought before someone said they couldn't do that. And I said, well, I can do that. So, and it was really just the point where, and the reason why Noel hates me with the inside, I doubled up the lenses because the first ones I did, if you look at the helmet, I laser cut. And so I etched it so when the light came through it, it cast out that display. You could see something in the eye. And I went through probably 10 different lenses. I was measuring them, and every time you do it, you have to heat it up and form it and get it in that perfect shape. That was a pain in the butt. But I didn't like any of them. I didn't care for any of them. And then finally I put it on and I was testing it out and I thought, this looks cool, but I can see my eyes. And I don't want that to happen. So I said, okay, so I put in those reflective things. So literally that is about a 1/4 inch lens in there. The first one is clear, it's all rastered and etched and laser cut. The second one is like the same stuff that you wear in your sunglasses, but on steroids. They're thick and heavy, and you can't see through them. So I could care less if Noel could see. Really. It's a little cool. And I'll be honest with you, I never even really thought about it. Because when I put it on, it was in like daylight, and there was no extra darkness, and someone wasn't trying to kill me. It wasn't an issue. And so when I first heard that he couldn't see, he did I think it was on your Ismahawk show that you did something. I read and I thought, and I heard him say that he couldn't see, and I thought, never even considered that. So kudos to them for doing such a good job being blind. But realistically, Hassani said, I want to have these things come out. He wants it to be looking like it came out of his shop, in his garage or something. He wanted it to look like he didn't have the money to rebuild and redecorate and make everything cool. He wanted it to have attitude and dimension, which is why I put the LED colors. Now, what I will say is when I first saw it, and you have all seen it now, they made that costume. I mean, it doesn't have sound in it. That's these guys. It doesn't, it can change colors. Yeah, I did that. But that's just a stupid remote and LED lights. Yeah, that was, but they made it do its own thing. And I never designed the gauntlets to rip someone's throats out, but they did that too. So a lot of the vision they had, they told me what they wanted done, and I just did it. And so, and it was fun to do. I actually had a blast doing it. I have another job, I have a big boy job, I don't get to play around a lot, so I did this at night. And so I put on something that would inspire me, and I'd just go to work. And I redid that helmet 4 or 5 times, before I finally got it to a point where I was happy with it. So, and it was the direction, these guys. And you know, they had their vision, I just had to make it happen. And the cost was that it was a, he keeps holding that like it's his.
Actually, no.
I haven't even gotten to touch it yet. You see where it's sitting. So realistically, I didn't charge him anything. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to do it.
We don't have studio backing. Who knows if we ever will? That's the goal. But in the meantime, I'm proud enough to say that every film I do make, I feel like I'm building up this extended family. You know, I kick it with these people. I talk to these people about movies. I invite these people to things I want to do, like fires. You know, I do bonfires at my house, and they come by. And I believe that it was the first step in something that's going to be way, way bigger and way, way grander down the road because our relationships will keep building. So, you know, I guess that principle translates over into anything you're doing, any business, any endeavor. Surround yourself with people that you would give a damn to hang out with first, and then there's still later. And to be honest, I think, like, if your will to do right by each other is what takes things up a notch. Money is so. Anybody got any other questions? Back corner.
What was your favorite part? Like, what was your favorite thing to do when you were filming?
Ooh.
All of
Oh,
them?
yeah.
All of them.
Favorite thing to do?
I don't know his favorite moment on set.
Favorite moment on set?
My favorite moment was being a soldier body double when I got to slump over.
He was too
No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, my favorite moment on set, honestly, was working with these two right here. I mean, they gave me so much to work with, and I felt like that scene was just super powerful. And watching these two push each other right here, I mean, these guys are going places. So, I mean, I really do agree that this place has become like a family. So, I mean, being on set and getting to don that makeup and do the voice of a character that you grew up being scared of, I mean, isn't that what we all want to do, is become other people?
My favorite moment on set was probably filming with her, actually, Veronica. She is an amazing actor, you guys. You didn't see all the takes that we had with her, but every single one, she brought it 150%. It was ridiculous. I was like, damn, man, I need to step it up. So that was probably my favorite moment. Second favorite moment would be it's a very, very short-lived moment in the short, but it's the part where I'm riding the motorcycle in between. So that part wasn't even in the script, I don't think. He was just like, it was after filming, the thing was almost done being edited. He's like, we need to get this pickup just to like make this transition feel smoother. I was like, I'm down, man. So we hitched we tied a motorcycle to a trailer to the back of a truck, and we just rode around, and I couldn't see anything out of that helmet, so it was just like a blind roller coaster.
I did it first to make sure.
No, yeah, it was definitely safe. It was very secure.
Like we were just blindfolded.
Hi, thank you.
Like stand up, you're like hiding behind me. There was a person behind me.
My favorite part was the prop gun. That wasn't in the script either. But
Oh, yeah.
someone
Oh,
was
that's
like,
true.
you're gonna try to defend yourself a little bit. I was like, fuck yes.
I wasn't on set, but my favorite part working on it was so
The doorknob.
yeah, no, that was the only cool Foley I did. No, so some negative things were going on in some of our social lives or some of our personal lives. We've all experienced like some petty stuff, and the moment. So originally we had written a completely different song for the scene between Beverly and the Red Hood, and his Sonny told us it didn't work at all. I think Bert agreed, and then I think John agreed, and so Zach and I were like, well, we disagree. So we had to go back to the drawing board, and it was a lot of late hours, and we were up like super late for weeks and weeks, and so we were tired, maybe a little drunk. And the music that came out, like when we were digging real deep into some of that stuff that was going on, different things. Everybody was going through different stuff, right? So, but to connect with each other on a completely, to connect on such a deep level for numerous different reasons, and then to have it forever captured in that one like excellent scene, like my favorite scene for sure. It's just really cool. So that's my favorite part.
I guess one of my favorite parts was that first day of shooting, where I'm playing Cassius, the big guy that dies up there. The guy with the axe. Anyway, I come in and I push Mike against the wall there. Well, there was one of the takes where I actually pushed him through that wall. I didn't mean to, I just got a little too excited and just kind of pushed him through the drywall there, and luckily we didn't get in trouble with that too much.
Always have insurance.
So that worked out, yeah. And then, I mean, the entire time in the Joker costume is that's just cake for me, so I love that.
Favorite moment on set? I have to say the motorcycle stuff. That was so much fun. Yeah, like you said, we strapped a motorcycle onto a trailer, and the shot where you see his jacket flapping, I'm laying in the back of the trailer with them, and we're doing like 40 miles an hour, and I'm just sitting with the camera like, this is awesome! And the wind's blowing, I had to take my hat off, and like I had to wear gloves because my fingers were getting too cold from the wind, but I loved every minute of it.
I was in the car with the,
How'd you guys come up with the concept for the entire, film? Because I met a couple of you guys at Millennium Cannon Bar, and Alex, the owner, because I always cosplay as a Red Hood. He's like, dude, I got something right up your alley. You gotta come check this out. So I was like, I just fell in love with that. I didn't have to hear it. And then when I told what the actual story was, I just instantly fell in love. I was just wondering what made you guys think that would work? Because I mean, honestly, it did. And then the second question is, how big of a pain in the ass was scouting, for locations and stuff like that, out here? Yeah.
The premise just came from wanting to do something different, and like we had a little bit of criteria because we're doing an action film later in the year, and we wanted to test some ideas, like that explosion. We wasn't sure if that would play the way it did. We wanted to kind of just get acquainted with the team we were working with here, see how well we can handle designing costumes. Like with each film, I think it's important to try and ask yourself to do a little bit more, especially if you're trying to work toward actually getting a job on a major motion picture. My goal was to have an idea of how everybody's job feels. So when it's late hours and everybody's tired, I'm not completely unempathetic as to how they feel. I know what it feels like, and I can look them in the eyes and be like, we still got more in the tank. So costume design, location scouting, we wanted to have a piece of all that. If there was going to be trouble, we were ready to face it. So I think a big part of it is just wanting to do something different, wanting to address the roles in Gotham, and then wanting to challenge ourselves.
And regarding the location scouting part, that's always tough. That's always a tough one, especially when you're on an independent level and you don't have a budget and everyone's kind of doing it out of their own pocket or just for the love of the project. But again, in the same situation where we work with all these wonderful people, we work with you find people that believe in you. And, fortunately, we work with a couple people, a producer who knew a couple locations and said we should go check them out. So we went to their business and we talked to them, and, they took a chance on us and they believed in us. And just kind of going from there. And then the school that we shot at, I was volunteering at that school for like over a year. Like I would go and teach, these kids about filmmaking, teaching them the camera and teaching them how to use the sound equipment. And it was just a blast. And this project came about and said, well, we need a school. So I just asked them like, hey, could I, shoot there for the weekend, which was great. But as you heard the story, there was a scheduling mishap, and yeah, we had to work around a school dance. But again, oh, cool. All right, 10 minutes. All right. You just got to work with what you got, and for with a certain level, don't let your limitations stop you. Use get creative. Use it as a way to think outside of the box. And ultimately, that's what we had to do, and I don't think we're ever gonna have to stop doing that. I think that's just something you have to do when you take this on, especially, if you're looking to do like a fan film project as well, because every one of these characters are so extraordinary, how are we gonna achieve this? So you have to kind of think outside of the box. Yeah, any other questions?
Who wants a sequel?
Yeah.